Hello and thank you for joining me today. I'm going to take you through a quick 20-minute yoga routine utilizing the Solaris yoga wheel. First, we're going to get warmed up a little bit, so I'm going to run you through a sun salutation, and it's okay if you're new to this. It is a simple flow. We're going to be following our breath through this, so each movement is going to be with our breath, and you're more than welcome to do it at your own pace. But I'm going to start off by showing you all the pieces, so don't worry about your breathing for this first round. Listen to my cues, and then we'll get into a flow with it so that we can get the whole body warmed up and then get into some deeper stretches and strength exercises utilizing the Solaris yoga wheel. So we're going to start first off at the top of our mat. And from here, we're going to bring our feet together, hands down strong at the sides, tight core, strong engaged legs. We're going to stand up tall and straight as if being pulled through the crown of our head. And from here, we're going to take a big inhale. Find our hands up over our head. So that was the inhale. On our exhale, we're going to forward fold. So let your body hang all the way down with that exhale. If you need to have a little bend in your knees, that's totally fine. If you can keep them straight, if you're warmed up already a little bit, your joints are fine, go ahead and keep the legs straight to get a deeper stretch. From here, we're going to inhale again, coming up into a half fold. We're going to straighten that back out as much as we can, really extending through the top of our head. Our hands can be around our knees or our shins, but really straightening the back out before we exhale again. And step back as we exhale into a plank and then dip into chaturanga. The chaturanga is a suspended plank. We're down with our elbows about 90. We hold this here, good posture, and then on our next inhale, push up into an upward facing dog. You really want to pinch the shoulder blades back here, keep those arms back, keep the triceps engaged. The hips are off the ground, so I'm not relaxing on the ground. My hips are off the ground, and then we're going to push back with our next exhale into the downward facing dog. For this particular pose, you really want to imagine being pulled up through your belly button, extending up as high as you can. Again, keep the shoulder blades rolled backwards. And from here, you can walk or hop back into your forward fold. Then we inhale out of it into extended mountain. Exhale, hands come back down to heart center. Really keep this mountain pose with good integrity. You want to have a strong base with the glutes squeezed and legs engaged fully, tight core extending up through the crown of your head. And then the flow simply starts again. So we're here, and on our inhale, we come up into extended mountain. Exhale, swan diving into a forward fold. Inhale into a half fold, and then exhale, stepping back into a plank and dipping down into chaturanga. From here, inhaling up into upward dog, pushing back with an exhale into downward facing dog. Let's hang out here a minute, and since this is our first real downward dog, let's take a couple of breaths here. It's okay to pause in the middle of a salutation and work out something that needs to be warmed up. And in this case, it's a good time to warm up those calves, so you can pedal the feet a little bit as we go. Really pushing back and up, extending the legs, and then when you can, if you can find your heels to the mat, this is where we'll get a good stretch out of this. Try and pick the toes up if you can, again, pedaling them. If they're still not warm yet, that's okay. There can be a little bend to the knees if you need. And then from here, we're gonna walk back up into the forward fold. Really allow yourself to sink into this. My hamstrings are starting to warm up, and it feels much better than it did when I started. We'll come back up to a standing posture. Extended mountain. And then exhale the arms out to the side. Now, I am much more warm than I was before. My muscles, my joints are ready for some more intense stretching. And we're gonna really be able to get into that with the Solaris wheel. Let's start by picking up the wheel, and we'll get into a nice standing backwards bend, a moon pose, utilizing this for a little bit of leverage. Now, you wanna make sure that your legs are really engaged as we do this, and your feet are close together. You have good posture, tight core, and as we raise this up over our head, just as we did with the last extended mountain, we're just gonna take this back now. And the little bit of weight of the wheel is gonna allow us to sink ever so slightly deeper. And we can come back out of it, really extend into that extended mountain, and we'll try and do this one more time. So my hands have either side of the wheel, and the leverage of it just allows me to feel that stretch a little bit more. Again, we only want to do it as far as it is comfortable and we can relax into the posture. Very good. We'll allow this down in front, and we will do the reverse of the back bend, which is a forward fold to kind of counteract that position. And now we have a prop, so we can put our hands on it and just kind of allow ourselves to sink into this. Finding that balance between the heels and your toes. If you want at this point, you can pick that up. And similarly how we did with hugging the arms, you can engage the muscles of your back. And as you engage the muscles of your back, holding on to this wheel, you will find your stretch gets just a little bit deeper. So having a prop is really nice for that. And it opens up your back, it opens up your chest and your shoulders, and allows you to just feel a little bit deeper of a stretch. Beautiful. Let's step back our right leg, and we're going to push forward into this. And I want us to line up our hips first. So really don't open up the hips. We want to close off the hips as if we're trying to pinch a piece of paper between our legs. And then once we have that, we're going to relax those back toes down. We're going to keep a nice line here, keep our orientation in front of us, and we are going to arch back, again, utilizing the wheel for a little bit of leverage. Squeezing those hips together. Reaching with the wheel. Beautiful. Let's bring it forward, and we'll just have this as a prop at our side as we push a little bit deeper into this deep, low lunge. Posturing up, I can use this as a crutch, as my support right here. As I posture up, I try to extend upwards so that I'm not having to be on the ground. I can use my one knee and my other hand here and really posture up and feel that stretch deep into this quadricep and the hip flexor. and breathe into it, allowing myself to sink, but keeping my posture upright and back as we push into this low lunge. Let's step forward into our forward fold again. Again, utilizing the wheel if we'd like to engage our back muscles and sink into this. And then we'll place it back down. We'll step our left leg back now into this low lunge. Let the toes lay down. Keep the legs pinched. Keep the hips oriented forward. And we will pick this up and bring our posture back with it. Squeezing the legs together, keeping them nice and in line. And we can come back up and out of it. Again, placing the wheel down, we can use it as a prop to allow ourselves to sink deeper into this low lunge, but at the same time be able to keep our posture back and upright. So we're pushing forward into that front leg and using the wheel and our knee to keep our posture back and up. And we can really feel that in the back leg, in the hip flexor and the quadricep, and allowing us to push back into this posture and keep our posture upright and straight is a beautiful thing. Another couple of deep breaths. And let's go ahead and we'll bring our right leg back at this point. I'm going to have the wheel out in front and we're going to get into a child's pose, but we're going to have the beauty of having our hands elevated. So with the wheel on end like this, I can allow my shoulder blades to really sink back, and I can allow my tailbone to push back, and all of a sudden I have a deeper stretch here than I would if I was just on the ground. So I have the wheel in my palms, and I'm pulling back with my tailbone towards my heels with each exhale. Letting those shoulder blades sink back, but not really extending over my head. I want to keep them pinched back. So I'm pinching those shoulder blades back, allowing my head to sink towards the mat. I've got all kinds of space now to play with because my hands are elevated, and at the same time, seeking to reach my tailbone to my heels. Beautiful. Now, let's have a little bit of fun. I'm going to have the wheel out in front on the edge of my mat, and we're going to stand up into a wide leg half fold here. And for this pose, similar concept, we're going to start off by pulling our energy through the top of our head and pushing our hips back in the opposite direction so that we're really extending the spine. And I have my hands on the wheel here. I can just find a little bit of balance. Let those shoulder blades sink back. And I'm going to go ahead and allow myself to sink into a nice wide leg forward fold here. And I can rest my head now on the yoga wheel. It's at a pretty darn good height. And if I want to, if I'm feeling like I can get even deeper, I can extend it out in front. And stretch my shoulders at the same time. And I can even pass it through and create an anchor point back there as I pull myself a little bit deeper into this forward fold. Great, I'm going to come back through. We're going to place our palms on the wheel, knees to elbows, and just lift the feet off the ground. And this is some great balance practice. Adding the instability of the wheel really challenges your crow position, so that is fun to play with. Let's extend our left leg and straighten our right foot out to a 90-degree angle, and the right foot is pointing perpendicular to the back foot. And from here, we're going to take the wheel in between our arms and do an extended side angle. So we're gonna reach, really opening up the chest up towards the ceiling and reaching out with the wheel. Find that balance point, really open up the hips, push through the back heel and the outside of the back foot and open up. And we can bring it back up and into a wide-legged, and we'll forward fold here, just to the half fold, extending through the crown and back to the tailbone. The feet are parallel again, but now we're gonna turn in the opposite direction, opening up the hips this way. That foot stays in place, and we'll do extended side angle to the left side now. And bring it back to center. Forward fold. Let's go ahead and fold all the way. Balancing the weight between the toes and the heels. We'll bring the wheel under, and let's try another crow because it's fun. So I'm just going to rock into this and bring my toes up slowly. Beautiful. And I'll walk my feet in and forward fold. I'm going to stand up tall, and this time with my feet together and holding on to either side of the wheel, I'm going to bend to one side. With the feet together, this stretch gets a lot more intense, and with just a little bit of added engagement of holding onto the wheel, deepens the stretch well. Up, reach high, and then exhale to the other side. Back to center, relax down. Thank you for joining me today with this quick yoga routine with the Solaris wheel. This is a really versatile tool that can be used by beginners or more advanced practitioners. Anybody that really wants to create some variety and add some stability in certain poses or instability in others. It allows you to do so much more just utilizing a simple platform that can create challenging positions or stabilize you in some others that you're not quite ready to freestand on. So a great tool for all skill levels. It's been a pleasure working with you with it, and hopefully we get to share some more tips with you in the future, so be sure to check back in. Thank you and have a wonderful day.